Okay, greetings. This is welcome to the new Reading Together on YouTube channel. I wanted to say some things about the orientation of the channel and try to explain a little bit of what the goals are here and to, I guess, give some background on this. I'm hoping that by way of this channel I can promote reading culture, book culture, and so what that means is there are some books that we've already identified and we're going to try to read together. We've already selected Epictetus and his handbook or the manual or the Enchiridion, different words to describe that short little text. And then we're going to read a wonderful chapter called the chapter is called The Basic Fault from the book Coming to Our Senses by Morris Berman. And then we're going to read three different books, and we're just going to, again, we're going to read select chapters in there, and we're going to start with the second edition of The Birth and Death of Meaning, and then The Denial of Death and Escape from Evil, all by Ernest Becker. Now, part of what I'm trying to do in this channel is to promote some awareness about, I guess, the human condition, the flight from death, the fear of death, and the need for meaning, and how people are to achieve meaning once they pull back the curtains on the cultural world picture. You know, if you do step out of the matrix and you start to realize cultural conditioning, what are your resources for having a genuine, meaningful life if you can't believe in fantasies or dogma, and you also don't want to participate in a kind of low-visioned, individualist stab and grab, what I would call, what sometimes is ushered in by a social neo-Darwinianism, a kind of atheistic individualism of competitive, ruthless individualism. I think that books, literacy, language more generally, symbolism, these are the ongoing evidence and proof of us being more than simply our bodies. Now, we are bodies, but bodies are connected to other bodies in invisible ways. And when I say invisible, I mean auditory. And so part of the beauty of shooting YouTube videos and interacting with one another here in talking about what we're reading is that we get to open to one another by way of voice and by way of sort of live time, what at least seems like live time interaction. I do want to say that at times I don't want to be, but I'm probably going to be accused of being tyrannical and or hierarchical or authoritarian. I can see that already coming, simply by the fact, let's just start with the fact that I've selected what I want to read or what I would want people to read. Well, this is going to be my group and my channel. I have to deal with it that way, and if people don't like it, well, they can either not be here or they can go to another channel. I do want to be open to suggestions. I'm happy to hear suggestions that people have and other readings. I also want to say that I am going to be occasionally promoting some of my own work. I have lots of things that are being published that are coming out. I have a book that is partly on Ernest Becker, and it relates to Stoicism and the recovery of a kind of neo-Stoicism in today's world. So part of this is, I guess, part of an ongoing project that's part of my research and my life, right? What I've been doing with you know, what I've been trying to do with my life has been a recovery of some of these ancient ideas of Stoicism and to deal with what I take to be the real insights of Ernest Becker and other thinkers as well. There's certainly tons and tons of other people. I read tons of things. I don't run around and tell people to read every little thing that I've read. I'm trying to focus here upon those things that are insightful, relevant, useful, important, hopefully those things that can really make a difference in people's lives. I think I also want to say that I'm going to be very tyrannical about policing any kind of hostile or unwelcoming to others attitude by people in terms of their comments or video responses. Anything that's irrelevant, and I mean somebody just promoting a video on there that's not really related to the discussion of the article, or people who are hostile or mean to other people, or even comments that are going to be hostile, I am just going to remove them, and if it gets grim, I'll remove a user or whatever that comes to. I hope that it doesn't come to that. I guess I would also say that part of what I'm going to try to do is to embody and to encourage a kind of celebratory notion of reading. when I say celebratory notion of reading, I think it's easy to just sit around and critique and complain and go, oh, here's another shortcoming. It's so easy to just point out shortcomings in readers or in authors. And to me, to be a good reader is to learn how to catch as catch can, to celebrate your ability to learn, to struggle with those items that you find to be challenging and to try to grow from them. But I don't want to do a lot of airing of, each person trying to express why they're superior to the author. I really don't like that. If you want to do that, that's fine. I would recommend, do it in your diaries or do it with those people who you like to do that with, but don't do it here on this channel for this group. I think here you want to provoke, stimulate, draw connections, show insights, give solid counterexample by author and by text, right? Certainly we want to allow criticism, but I think the criticism needs to be square on and where we're going to bite the bullet and go, yeah, well, that's right. Not just, again, airing of quick, have critique will travel kind of criticism. I think we need really substantial criticism if it's going to be criticism. I think also what will be imperative and something that we'll have to do very carefully here is to pay attention to what Don Burks, one of my professors at Purdue, and what other people would say Kenneth Burke had suggested is, no relation there, is benchmarks, to have serious benchmarks when we're talking about texts, to give specific quotations and page numbers and to say, okay, let's talk about this passage right here. There's a line by Epictetus, as a mark is not set up for men to miss it, there's nothing intrinsically evil in the world. We want to have exact quotation at some point. Again, I'm not even sure if that's right. Should I check? Oh, we can look again. We can see how close that was. But to have exact quotation, that's really, really important, to get the wording correct, and then from there we can haggle about it, right? I think it's fine to haggle, but boy, we have to begin with a direct, precise quotation, and to be very clear about what is a precise quotation and then what is an interpretation, right? To read is to interpret. We all have interpretations. The task is to learn how to open to others. I think the last piece of advice that I would want to give in this group is to learn how to become who one needs to become, to be willing to be someone who earns a text. One of my great colleagues, Robert Mayberry, he used to say, the study of communication is not trying to get people to understand what I mean by my words. It's, can I learn to understand what other people mean by their words? That to me is so much of what being a reader is about. It's, can we learn to understand what other people mean by their words? Could we find the common situation that we're in? And I mean, spanning all the way back to the ancients, right? I think we're in the same situation as Epictetus was. The fact that there are brilliant, brilliant insights that come from thousands of years ago, that to me is interesting. The task is, can we learn to open to them? Okay, hopefully that's enough of a frame or a context to set up some of the organization of this group.